If you feel like the year started before you were even ready, then this video is for you. I'm not rushing into the new year energy. I'm slowing down, getting intentional, and preparing for 2026 the right way. Everyone talks about New Year's resolutions, New Year, New Me, and of course, the aesthetic vision boards. I even made one myself. But in this video, I really want to get into the nitty-gritty beyond the aestheticness of the new year, and I want to share with you some real knowledge that you may need to make 2026 the best year yet for you. So when it comes to reaching and preparing for your goals for 2026, I think the first important step is defining your why. Why do you want to reach these goals? Why are they important to you? Why do you value them? What about them makes them so prevalent? And what is your drive? Well, why do you have to accomplish them? You need to understand both sides of it. What is your reward here? How are you going to feel when you do accomplish them? And how are you going to feel if you don't accomplish them? Understand your why and your driving factors. Now let's talk about getting past the aesthetically pleasing vision board part of your goals. I feel like this is where a lot of people get stuck. They make their vision board, they're on the new year high, and they're so motivated. And when you get to that second quarter or that after January, that energy is gone. That motivation, that spark, it's either gone or slowly dying. And I think here's why. For most people, solely relying on motivation isn't really going to work. You have to pair motivation with consistency and discipline. And both of those, consistency and discipline, are going to last longer than motivation. For most people, motivation and waiting for that simply doesn't work. What you actually need is systems, routines, structure, the things that we've been doing since childhood, when it was forced on us when we had to go to school. But unfortunately, there is some benefit to that. So you need to have a routine. I think a routine is important. Let's say, for example, one of your goals for 2026 is to become a 5 a.m. girly. Now, let me start with saying, for some people, being a 5 a.m. girly is just not them. It's not who they are, and there's really no point in forcing it. You shouldn't compare yourself to others, and if that's just not you, you're not a 5 a.m. person, it's so uncomfortable for you and there's no benefit, then don't do it. Do not follow a copy and paste routine that works for somebody else, because there's so many different factors for each person. That person that you're comparing yourself to that's a 5 a.m. girly, okay, she may work early mornings and that's why she's up like that, and she gets to sleep early at night. But if you work night shift and you're trying to be a 5 a.m. girly, you're like counteracting yourself. But if you don't have any conflicting factors and becoming a 5 a.m. girly is really one of your goals, then let's make that goal easier to obtain. Don't make it hard for yourself. Even I've done that. I've made goals, but then I don't really make it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do it, but I'm doing it the hard way. So what I mean by that is, if you want to be a 5 a.m. girly, okay, what's the other side of that? Obviously, a good night routine. Look into building the night routine that a 5 a.m. girly needs. If I'm pretty sure women that are waking up at 5 a.m. or the 5 a.m. girly isn't going to sleep past 12 a.m., not binge watching Netflix series, not watching Stranger Things, not eating junk food, not like all of these things that conflict a good morning wake up. Okay, so I think, and this applies to any of your goals, you have to make it easier to obtain by preparing for that goal. Do not just set a goal and think you're going to wake up tomorrow and be able to cold turkey do it. And I'm not saying you can't. You good. But it's going to be pretty tough and pretty miserable. So if you know you want to wake up at 5 a.m., what can you do the night before to help with that? Is it taking magnesium glycinate, however you pronounce that, to get sleep support? Is it going to sleep earlier? Is it a nice herbal tea? You need to figure out what is it that you need to do or you need to put in place to reach your goals easier. Okay? Pair your goals with the lifestyle needed to accomplish them. Okay, one of my biggest lifelong mottos is you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can set a million goals, but if you yourself aren't taken care of and you're not there, it's not gonna work. If your mental is not secured, how do you expect to reach this 20 list goal point or whatever it is? You can't. So along with preparing for your goals and making them easier to obtain, you need to make sure that you are checking in with yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Okay, what routines or what are you going to put in place to make sure your mental is in check? Whether that's therapy, whether that's journaling, whether that's prayer, whether that's church, whatever it may be, you have to have something that's going to keep you grounded, is what I'm saying, basically. How are you going to ground yourself? How are you going to check in with you and make sure that you are ready to accomplish these goals, okay? With that being said, there is a lot of things out here like 75 hard and New Year grind, work, don't stop, no breaks, burnout doesn't exist. There's so many things out here that completely ignore burnout. And honestly, you waste more time doing it the hard way and ignoring burnout versus doing it in a longevity and sustainable way, in a consistent way, in a disciplined way. Because you can go so hard, and then burn out and all your progress is dead because you're now wasting time trying to recoup and recover from that. So make sure you are having intentional rest days. You are setting smart goals, realistic goals. And that's not to say I'm a very ambitious and optimistic person, so I don't think anything is not achievable. But at the same time, what I mean by realistic is you have to make your goals fit your current lifestyle and where you are today. Just like I was saying earlier about if you work night shift, it doesn't really make sense to try and be a 5 a.m. girly right now because you currently work night shift. But if that changes, then there you go. So the name of that game is I'm choosing consistency over intensity. Okay? There's so much pressure to just be this insane machine, but we're not machines. We're humans. And especially if you're a woman watching this, women, we go through so many phases of our cycle. There's so many things you can do with that too, like cycle syncing. I'm still learning about that, but that's a whole other topic. But I really want to hone in on making sure you have systems in place to support you. Do not try and achieve these this is really the foundation. This is your solid foundation. Do not try to set these overexerting goals when your mental is depleted or your health is a setback. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. So yeah, that's my next take is just basically make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you pour into yourself first, because when you take care of yourself, you are taking care of others and taking care of everything else, because it's like an overflow effect. Everything else will follow. When you take care of you, your business will flourish, your finances will flourish, everything will flourish, because it starts with you. You are the body, you are the vessel. You are what's making your world spin, okay? Next, I would like to talk to you about your physical routine. If you have, no matter what your goals is, your physical health, as I was kind of talking about before, is just as an important factor. If you want to reach whatever goal it may be, your night routine, your health, the food, what you're putting in your body matters just as much. Say, for instance, you have a goal to run a marathon. Say you want to run a marathon this year. I'm pretty sure this is common sense to most people, but how do you expect to run a marathon if you're eating McDonald's every day or fast food every day? You aren't nourishing your body. You're not going to have any energy to run or work out or build the body you need. Trust me, you can tell the difference versus when you go, say for instance, you eat Burger King and you go work out versus eating a salad and working out. You're gonna feel the difference. Now, like I always say, you can run that marathon after eating McDonald's for a week. But you know what? You're going to be miserable. You're going to feel terrible. Versus if you would have just had the discipline to cut back on that sugar, water, doing whatever it is. I don't know what diet people follow to run a marathon, but doing whatever it is you need to prepare for that marathon. Now you're completing that goal stress-free. So just please take care of your health to reach the goals that you want to reach. Health is just as important. As they say, health is wealth. Okay, now for the new year, another way I'm preparing is tailor what you're consuming. A lot of people say social media is a negative, scary place. And yes, that is true. Social media is crazy. But social media is a mirror of you because it works through an algorithm. So do a digital detox. People shouldn't take the unfollow and following personal. It's not. This is your page. This is your feed. This is your curated feed. So and you gotta think, especially if you had your page or your whatever is TikTok, Instagram, whatever, if you've had it for years and you've evolved and developed since then, you're not interested in the same content that, I don't know, 16-year-old you was interested in as 20-year-old you is interested in. So I think it's also important to do a digital detox, especially if you're someone who's gonna consume media on a frequent basis. It's important to filter and monitor what you're consuming it's important to focus on what you're taking in, because that plays a part in your mental and your motivation as well. So when you go to your social media feed, is it draining you or is it fueling you? That's what you need to determine and do what you need to do to make it the fueling you, okay? Whether that's unfollowing people, whether that's building a whole new page, whether that's blocking people, whether that's deleting posts, whether that's following new people, whatever it may be. I think doing a digital detox, or even if that's taking a break from social media and all, figure out what you need to do with that as well, since media is a big part in a lot of people's lives. And some people are off grid, some people aren't as heavy in media, but for the average person in 2026, people are. So that's another tip or gem I would like to include in this video for you. Okay, in conclusion, I hope some of these gems or tips, tools, whatever you want to call it, resonated and helped you in some way. In conclusion, or I would like to share with you what I'm leaving behind in 2026. So in 2026, I'm leaving behind waiting until I feel ready. And that's basically waiting for motivation to strike, because that is unreliable. We are human beings, not machines, as I was just saying. And every day we're not going to feel motivated to be the version of ourselves that we want to be. So that's when I want to lean more heavily on consistency and discipline. I will not be comparing, because as you know, comparison is a thief of joy. And someone else's journey is their journey for a reason, and your journey is yours for a reason. I will not be harsh to myself on this journey. We are all humans just trying to make it. So, and life in itself is hard enough. So why be mean to yourself? Why beat yourself up? All you can do is do what you can do and show up and be there for yourself in the best way you know how. Okay, my loves, I encourage you all to think about how you're going to prepare for 2026. I am no professional. This is just things I'm implementing in 2026 that I don't hear too many people talk about. I don't think it's common. And I'm just sharing what's working for me, but I encourage you to, of course, always do your own thinking and evaluating and reflecting on what you want to bring into 2026, how you want to make 2026 your year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and resonating with you in some way, somehow. And please feel free to share in the comments ways you are preparing for 2026. Let's all help each other and make 2026 our year together. Until next time, mwah.